Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. So I just got back from seeing the new Captain America film, Brave New World, and I had to sit on this one for a little bit because I had some reservations going into this. And I wasn't sure what to expect, which is probably why I ended up liking it a lot more than I think most people will. So the thing you got to really take into consideration is the fact that it's okay to tell stories with different types of characters. Like with Star Wars, it's okay to have a smuggler story or something about an underdog. This is basically like an underdog story where Sam is trying once again to prove himself to the world that he can be his own version of Captain America. Like it's tough. It's tough to market a character like Sam Wilson because let's face it, most people are just going to say, "Oh, just Falcon with the Captain America shield." Like, fine, whatever. But so I rewatched the Falcon and Winter Soldier season one finale, and and he's growing. He's grown on me as Captain America. Unfortunately, I think that this film left me a little bit underwhelmed. I want to say it's not terrible, but I definitely want to see it again to really cement my thoughts. But I haven't listened to any of the naysayers, but I can guarantee you that for me, I like it more than I can already say I like it more than most of the naysayers out there. And they're probably going to be more vocal than I am, which is fine. Really don't care about that type of stuff. But I thought Anthony Mackie really shined in this one as a Sam Wilson Cap. I like the new kid playing Falcon. Lou, not as over the top goofy as I was expecting from like a sidekick character, which is essentially what Sam was. But Sam's always been like that comic relief type character in the movie, which is fun. I think that's just Anthony Mackie putting his personality into the character, which most actors do anyway. But I think the reshoots, the consistent reshoot, I think, is what really hurt this film. It's not the fault of the actors. They had one number from the Servant Society in this, which I'm a little surprised that they cut them out of the film. I think once we get to Thunderbolt Ross as the Red Hulk at the end of the film, I thought it was kind of ridiculous. Like, if anything, you should have had Betty Ross. Spoilers. Should have had Betty Ross be the one to talk down Thunderbolt Ross as when he became Red Hulk. Spoilers. Unfortunately, well, in the comics, Red Hulk doesn't go back and forth like Ben, which is why I was a little shocked that they had him in here in the first place. Like, is Cap going to sing a lullaby now? Like, what's he doing? It was utterly ridiculous with the Red Hulk at the end smashing through a freaking White House. I'm like, but everyone out there has seen Batman, Superman, Dawn of Justice. It's the exact same thing. Like Superman tosses Batman across the alley, throws him into the freaking bat signal, and smashes onto the roof like a paperweight. Like the amount of force it takes for the Hulk, any Hulk, to smash another person into a building, there's no way he's walking away intact. Sam ain't got no coverings on his face. Like his shield can do only so much. Yeah, they don't care what kind of tech he has. Just a freaking Hulk. There's no Bruce Banner in this. Loki showed up for like 5 minutes, and they have that same discussion that he had with Rhodey in the Falcon Winter Soldier series about, oh, Steve made a mistake giving me the shield. I'm like, well, maybe. It's not even much so much a mistake. It's the fact that people just keep harping on the same thing over and over again. You're not Steve Rogers. You don't have blonde hair and blue eyes. You can't be Captain America. So it felt like a retread of things that I didn't need to see again. It's like we know what Sam looks like. We know his background. Don't need to keep talking about the fact that he's not Rogers. Anyone with eyes can see that. Like, because Isaiah Bradley was basically his Bucky Barnes in this for the most part, as far as like retread and Winter Soldier esque storylines, which is okay, I suppose. It's trying to be a political thriller. I felt like they were trying to use Sam to push this political agenda, and don't like that. I think that was one of my main issues with Sam being Cap now, is they're just going to use him to push this ridiculous ideal. And when Ross is like, you're not Steve Rogers," that's the thing. Like, well, you might as well just say doesn't have blonde hair and blue eyes. That's exactly what he meant. I mentioned this to someone the other day. I'm like, no, they're going to bring it up. That's what he was implying. Implying like, because he wanted to investigate, Sam wanted to investigate why Isaiah Bradley went crazy, and Ross was basically saying, "You're not Steve Rogers." Basically means that because you got Brad skin, I'm not going to let you investigate. But if it was Steve Rogers, I wouldn't care. That's what he meant. Now, Marvel doesn't have the balls to actually go in that direction, but it was heavily implied. It's one of those you got to read between the lines type of things to understand what he's actually saying, because he doesn't do it again for the rest of the film. But that one scene was like, all right, I don't need this message repeated anymore. Thank you very much. It's like, come on, man. Ugh. So they do some interesting nods to the Eternals with this Celestial Island thing. Where I thought they were trying to like make a nod to Genosha. It's like a mutant paradise in the comics for that Magneto rules over. But it's where apparently this Celestial Island is where they find adamantium. Like, why are they introducing adamantium all of a sudden? Because I'm kind of confused because that Wolverine is already exists. So it's on a different timeline, but like they need to explain that better. It's like, oh, the leader isn't featured that much. The leader's the main villain of this. I was a little shocked at how quickly he was dismantled. I was kind of hoping that they would like keep him in the shadows and have him be a mastermind for like a few films, because he's a super smart villain, the leader, and I thought it went down a little too fast. I like his motivations, but they kind of explain the fact that he's been missing for 16 years because Ross had him in some underground lab, and he was exploiting his intelligence. And then the leader, in return, gave him these pills that was messing with his mind and basically caused him to transform into Red Hulk, because they were laced with gamma radiation. So over the course of the film, Ross is getting more and more mad, and then eventually he just beasts out in the middle of a presidential speech at the White House. So he can never be the president ever again now. And now they're going to have a freaking movie named after this idiot called Thunderbolts. So I don't understand that at all. But that's the only part that's like kind of scratching my head. Like, how the hell are they going to have a freaking super team named after the Thunderbolt Ross, who just turned into a friggin' Hulk? And the previous films created the Abomination that destroyed half New York City. How do you even get elected in the first place? This is stuff I can't really get behind. It's just, yeah. I mean, it's not a terrible film, but it's not Marvel's best. And wasn't really expecting it to be the best. It's probably the weakest of the Captain America films. I'm not saying that because of Sam. I'm just saying the writing was just not there. The reshoots is really what destroyed this film, I think. Um, I like the chemistry between him and the new Falcon. I think they're an interesting duo. Harrison Ford was fantastic as Thunderbolt Ross. He did his absolute best that he could give in his performance. That was great. It's Harrison Ford, so I was expecting no less than that. I think it would have been cooler to see like the Servant Society at the actual Servant Society in this versus like one dude with a machine gun. I'm like, all right, come on now, Marvel. It's like not everything needs to be about the freaking underworld. Not everything needs to be Infinity Wars or First Avenger type stories. You can have a smaller story with lesser known characters and have it still work. I think that's why Guardians of the Galaxy did so well because it was a bunch of misfits brought together to save the galaxy. I think for me, I think that's why I enjoy this because it is a smaller story. Means Cap's trying to stop a world war between the United States and Japan that the leader has orchestrated from behind the scenes. Yeah, my only real gripe was that the leader was underused, I think, in this. He's already in the raft, so I think he was kind of wasted. He is a Hulk villain, which is another thing. It's like you got two Hulk villains fighting a guy that has no super serum. Even with the serum, it wouldn't really matter. There's no way that Sam should have been able to beat him. Like at one point, Red Hulk rips off one with vibranium wings. I'm like, what the hell's gonna do now? I mean, it doesn't get more ridiculous than that. I'm trying to stay positive, but it's tough because what would have been cool. I know it's a Cap film, but I'm like, what would have been cool is if said I got a bad guy surprise for you, Ross, and then Bruce Banner Hulk shows up and tackles Ross down, and they go at it. That would have been cool. But the fact that they kept Banner out of this was a little bit surprising. I'm like, how are you gonna feel like all the trailers they kept showcasing Red Hulk and this and that. And I'm like, why would you put the Red Hulk in a Captain America? Regardless of who has the shield. It doesn't belong in this movie. And like in the comics, nobody really knew that Ross was a Hulk. He just shows up. Like for the most part, his origin is the same. But it's a little different, obviously. Even in the Avengers cartoon, he was injected with gamma radiation, some other mixture or something else that made Red Hulk. It was Banner's blood, I think, and gamma radiation or something. And this, the leader's behind it, which I can see working. His motivations made sense. I think his design was interesting, but for me, I think the leader was underused. I think the leader should have been behind a new branch of Hydra. I think we should have seen Madam Hydra in this. Looks like she's going to be assembling the Thunderbolts or something. Thunderbolts, well, the actual Thunderbolts. No idea why they'll be called that team at this point. So that film must be set after this because it don't make any sense. But yeah, it's not a terrible film. I think I might check it out again. I think I would need to see this a second time to let my thoughts really be cemented and see if anything has changed between the first and second viewing. But I don't think this is going to make the numbers they're hoping for opening weekend. I just thought today was a pretty packed house at the theater, but I don't think this is going to make the numbers they're hoping for. You see, this should have been released in I guess this is kind of summertime. Well, still winter, I guess, but I don't think this was the best weekend to release this, but I mean, in my opinion, like I wouldn't really pay attention to the naysayers out there. They're just kind of nitpicking every little damn thing, starting with Sam's skin color and just going from there. That's the only thing that people seem to bring up in their ridiculous arguments. He's not Captain America. He's got brown skin and this and that. Like, yeah, okay. There's no. When you really look at the naysayers, there's really no other arguments that they use besides that, and just makes them really, really shallow as individuals. That's just my 2 cents on that. But I wasn't expecting this to be like a major blockbuster. I'll definitely see it again. I'll definitely get the digital version for sure. Yeah, I was a little underwhelmed by the action. I think Sam needs the serum if he's gonna keep doing the fighting shit that Captain America actually does in the comics because I just noticed he was moving a lot slower than Rogers would. I'm trying not to compare him too much, but that's what happens when you have legacy characters. They're always going to be compared to the OGs. It's like, and that's where I could see a naysayers argument working. It's like Terry McGinnis, for example, will never be Bruce Wayne, which is fine. Miles Morales will never be Peter Parker, which is fine. It's like Sam doesn't have to be Rogers, and I'm okay with that. Like I don't need him to do all the flips and stuff that Rogers would do in Winter Soldier and whatnot. But like I said in my Falcon and Winter Soldier commentary, it's also on the channel. I think Sam makes sense as Cap in this modern world because this is the world he's always known. Whereas Rogers was a man out of time. He belongs in the 40s. That's the world he grew up in. And his entire arc in the MCU was basically being a fish out of water. Doesn't mean he wasn't Captain America, but I'm just saying for me, I think Sam makes more sense as Cap. They just need to have a better story going forward for him. But yeah, I like Sam as Cap. I like Anthony Mackie as an actor. I think he did a fantastic job as the character. I think it was a mistake to put the Red Hulk in this. I think it really brought down the movie from me. I'm like, because I'm sitting thinking, I'm like, gee, I wonder what they were thinking about in the writers. I'm like, huh. So for the grand finale of this Captain America film, specifically Cap with no super serum, what could we possibly do? Maybe bring in some new Hydra agents or something. No, no, no. Let's put the Red Hulk in the movie. That'll be great. That's what people want to see. I try not to laugh when old ass Harrison Ford was like looking like he wanted to take a crap when he was transforming into the Red Hulk. I'm like, this has got to be a joke. It was funny. Of like, it wasn't even like completely rageful. It's just like he just had a bad temper tantrum and just started beasting out because of these crazy pills he was taking, apparently. And again, what would have been more interesting for the finale is if Sam called another favor, someone named Bruce Banner or even his cousin Jen, to kick the shit out of the Red Hulk while Sam evacuates the city or something. Because like Sam ain't going up against the Red Hulk and walking away. He did in this one because, you know, reasons, I guess. But talking him down was stupid, in my opinion. But whatever. Doesn't mean it's not a good film. Just like, seriously, this is what you're doing for the freaking finale of your movie, just prop up his pillows, why don't you? So I thought that was a little silly. I'm like, again, Red Hulk ripped off his vibranium wings at one point in the movie. I'm like, what the hell's he gonna do now? Like Falcon was out of commission, he was knocked out, and there's no other heroes in this film. Bucky shows up for like 5 minutes and then he just disappears. So Sam was basically on his own at that point, which gave him like still. I'm like, what the hell is he gonna do now? So maybe in the next one he'll take the serum because I think he really needs it. Like that's part of Captain America mantle. Even John Walker realized you need to have an edge to get rid of those crazy flag smashers in Falcon series. He got his ass beat by those bald chicks from Africa, from Wakanda. And when he took the serum, he was kicking all kinds of ass. So I think Sam needs to take the serum in the future Captain America films. I think he really needs the serum. Like if we're talking about Doctor Doom and possibly other great worldly threats. Sam talking down his enemies is not going to work.